Our simple cloud-based platform helps automate your workflow, empowering you to serve your investors and raise more capital with unrivaled efficiency. Invest more and manage less with AppFolio Investment Management.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Realcomm Live. So glad to be here yet again, our Friday morning meeting with all of you. We've got two really great, exciting guests today. We got Denise Taylor, who's the president of the Global Technology Solutions Group for Legends, and Jesse Carrillo, an old friend, SVP, Chief Information Officer from Hines. We've got some conversations not about small buildings, about big buildings, stadiums. And then we're going to move into a discussion with Jesse about what's going on at Hines. And then, of course, the big news for us this week is we're getting ready to travel to Denver and get this hybrid event started. And then at the end of the show, we're going to wrap. We're going to bring Howard and Lisa in to talk about what we've been going through the last 30 days in prep for Denver and what we can expect to happen next week. So an exciting show. So with that, I'd like to bring in Denise and we can get our conversation started.
Good morning,
Hello.
Jim. How are you?
Good. How are you doing? It is so good to see you.
Great to be here with you and the Realcomm team. This is fantastic.
It's just good to see a familiar smiling face.
Yes.
So I understand you've been a little busy. You know, as you know, we talk about technology and real estate, and you've been a friend of the family for a number of years, previously with Westfield and now with Legends. And why don't you take a minute for those who, you know, it's a big company, very successful company. Why don't you take 30 seconds to tell people what Legends does?
Legends is a company that is a 360 offering of hospitality. So really focuses on, in the sports and live entertainment space, everything from global planning, attractions, global sales, our international team, food and beverage, and our latest division, which is mine, which is our Global Technology Solutions division. So really exciting, lots of big venues and sports teams, but it crosses over tremendously into our commercial real estate world, very similar to Westfield conversations.
Yeah, well, but just that the buildings are a little bigger, right?
A little bit bigger, but it's bringing people and experiences together, which is very similar to what we see across a lot of our mixed use properties.
Right. And it's been fun to watch your career and, you know, how you've went from retail and now into this. But the funny thing is it all connects, as you well know. The ideas, the concepts, the physical space, technology integration can be applied, you know, from a small office building to a major stadium, right? So let's talk about SoFi a little bit. It's in, you know, big stadium, Los Angeles marketplace. I think we're going to bring up a little video while you're chat. Give everybody a little idea what's going on with this incredible project.
You nailed it. And what an incredible project for us over at SoFi Stadium in partnership with the local Rams and the Chargers and Stadco. It's been a fantastic, just a build of a 300-acre campus, which includes obviously the stadium, this real state-of-the-art engagement center, but it's a destination. It's literally a training facility. There's a local park. There will be office buildings. It is really this beautiful, lush landscape that brings together these fantastic architectural buildings with parks and greenery. And hopefully you've seen it at least on some of the games that have been broadcast with the Rams and the Chargers. And hopefully soon we will get some people in there to see it in person.
We won't talk about the Chargers though, because you took my Chargers. So actually, I think it was a wise move, actually. We can still get there. We can still get there if we want to watch the games.
Absolutely.
I want to talk a couple things. Before we get into the COVID and bringing people back safely, can you give folks a little idea of the technology that's been deployed, you know, to create these experiences inside the stadium?
Absolutely. So the stadium has everything from connectivity throughout, connecting people through an integrated ticket experience. So really, you can do most things with your mobile phone. Some of the just jaw-dropping, moments, as I call them. We have this Oculus, this video board. It's a 360-foot double-sided digital board, 4K, first of its kind. Absolutely, just a beautiful view, and it's on the internal circle of the actual stadium, and really just highlights everything that we've done and thought about throughout the process. So those are some of the big highlights. But again, it's also a lot of thought into, especially during our time of really becoming a contactless society and thinking about safety and health, you know, the ability to do things cashless, the ability to do most of your transactions through mobile. That whole concept was really brought into this build as well.
So what comes to my mind is the team. I mean, how do you even begin to assemble a team that can build a project of that size, having to think 10, 15 years in the future? Can you give us a little idea on how that, you brought those people together?
So actually, it's been a really big benefit to us is our project development team, which gets in on the front end of planning and design, has been involved in SoFi for the past 5 years. So collectively, beyond technology, we've been involved in the sponsorships and the build and design. And then really, it's obviously, as you said, it is the network of partners. The magnitude of partnerships involved is extensive. And again, with this size campus and the multiple phases of the build, we will continue to add those partners and grow with it. But we couldn't do it on our own. There's definitely, just the thought process is, as I always say, it's not just the technology partners, it's your construction team, it's your architects, it's your operating partners. And I think everybody really came together with this vision and were bought into it. So that really drove this really connected experience. A destination is what we really focused on.
And I got to believe that if I was to sneak into one of your telecommunications closets, it does not look like a stadium. I mean, switches, routers, 5G, antennas. Yeah, I mean, how did you pull that strategy together on such a massive project?
So I think it goes back to the very concept that we wanted this connected journey and destination, both for our local community, but for visitors coming in. Obviously, we're very close located to LAX. You can see it flying in. It's a beautiful view of the stadium and the complex. But we also have, we wanted to connect with training facilities, local medical facilities. So we really pulled together the teams and initially got them to buy into what the vision was and understanding it. A lot of times in big projects, as you know, Jim, you work in silos. And I'd say
Right.
this is a project I've seen really come together holistically and very much transparency and sharing what the plan was, sharing how we were going to achieve it. And there was a lot of innovation and creativity. It wasn't come in and saying we're going to just do it one way. Clearly, we had to flex and pivot, and especially as things in the environment changed, and we were open to that. And I think that's what really drove us to where we are today.
So it's pretty safe to say IT was the table early on.
Absolutely. Oh, had a seat at the table on the planning. Very much. Which was really great was the ownership groups, though, were already speaking technology and the importance of it, and that whole concept of creating this experience that brings the physical and digital together
Yep.
from the beginning. It was a part of the vision.
Yeah. So let's pivot a little bit to COVID. Obviously, this horrific pandemic that's upon all of us. Events like ours, stadium, sporting events like yours, probably some of the worst impacted. What kind of things have you had to pivot to convince people that it's like okay to come back? Not full, tilt. We're not going back to full stadium tomorrow. It's going to be staged. But what kind of things have you put in place to make people feel comfortable that it is safe?
It has definitely been a time for us to really kind of think about our business and the safety of not just our fans, but our teams, our employees, the performers coming in. With a global operation like Legends, we also had to deal with country, city, state differences. So really what we've built is a very flexible program. We call it the venue reintegration program, where it really takes a look at everything from the return of the worker and being able to, check in on them in regards to a general interaction with them, making sure their medical conditions, their safety, their wellness, how they're feeling about coming back to work, a digital check-in. And then actually with the venue itself, we and this is varies based on where you are in the world, but it includes your deep hygiene and cleanse of the arena, the club, the suites, the food and beverage areas. It includes making sure we look at multiple ways for touchless, so more
Right.
cashless interactions, technology really enabling most things to be done on your digital phone. We had to revamp our food and beverage and hospitality offering. We're used to people lining up. You go, you order your food at the ballpark, you go to the centralized area where you have your condiments, all a shared space. So in this short period of time, we've reformatted that, the fulfillment process, the ability of to, really putting things so that they're separate from a food and beverage perspective. Still, the fantastic delivery of the level of quality food, but you're getting
Right.
pre-packages, you're getting individual packages. A lot has been enabled through technology too.
Wow.
Everything from a digital ticket, a fully integrated mobile experience, using social distancing, that crowd intelligence type software to make sure where we can allow 20,000 people into a stadium, that we appropriately space them out. So really have done a lot of focus on that. We've seen, SoFi, for example, we're still at the early stages of bringing a few hundred people back. At AT&T Stadium and obviously Dallas, we have a roughly, 20,000 or so plus people coming in for each event.
Well, not to get political, but if you need some help lobbying our friends here in California, not that we have too much influence, but we want some people back in your stadiums, and we can do it safely. If anybody's listening, if anybody can do it safely, it's Denise.
Absolutely.
So
Appreciate that.
one final thought. We talk about going forward. You got this infrastructure, you got this vision, you got this brand new stadium. How about some of the new apps? Cameras on the sideline, listening to conversations of the players, private channels to be able to be in the locker room before hear the coach's
Right.
speech. What other kinds of crazy things are you guys dreaming up?
So definitely, I think you've maybe seen a little bit in the NBA with using even the app to bring in the digital fans, the digital sound piped in. But we're really talking about creating these digital social communities. So get a group of Rams fans together, a group of Cowboys fans together socially. So you're almost having a suite experience, and we're delivering you unique content, like you're saying. We're going to take you into the owner's box and give you that view from the owner's box, or we're going to get a quick interview with Dak Prescott or one of our players, or you're going to do a back end tour of the stadium, right? So you create that kind of unique experience socially, share it with your friends, and hey, oh, guess what? We're going to have, some food and beverage delivered to your house because we can bring that so you can bring that experience to your home as well.
Well, and if anybody's going to bring, that star quarterback onto the middle of the field, 60 feet tall, three-dimensionally, with an immersive 3D model, I bet you it's going to happen at that stadium.
Absolutely. That's literally how we think about things. And it's really, this is what we do. You pivot and adjust, and you do this in business. And I think these are a lot of great ideas that have been enabled through technology.
Well, and the interesting thing is these ideas are not new. Some of them, they've been around for a long time, right? I mean, we teleported our first person onto a general session stage in 2001, right? So it's 19 years ago. Technology seems to have disappeared, but because of the pandemic and that we're all forced into this new world, I think you're going to see innovation for those willing, and there's a lot who are not willing. Okay, they're sitting there waiting. I don't know what for, but I think those who lean in are going to really be well ahead of the curve.
I completely agree. The innovation and the willingness to lean into it, I think you see it much more prevalent. We've accelerated what was maybe out 3 to 5 years to now.
Yep, exactly. So, you take this situation and pull some positives. Let's find some lemonade out of these lemons. And I actually see that going on again in the circles where people are leaning in. For those who are waiting for some magic thing to happen, I think they're going to be losing a big opportunity. I really do. Because there's some fun stuff going on.
I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree. And I think the innovation and the safety of people at the forefront and getting them to return in a safe fashion, getting them to come back to some of the things that really bring them joy in life too. I mean, with that's the key to all of this.
It is. Well, you have no idea how much I'm glad you came with us today. I know how busy you are, and we will be meeting up with you soon. I know you're going to be coming into Realcomm next week virtually, and looking forward to that conversation as well. So great
Take care,
segment.
Jim.
Be well. So SoFi Stadium, I'm sure most of you know about it. If you don't, I would get out and do a Google search. It's one of the most impressive stadiums in the United States, if not the world right now. So with that, let's take a brief break and hear from one of our great sponsors, BearTech. All right, and a real special shout out to all of our sponsors. As I mentioned, every single episode, we could not do this without them. They pay for our education, our collaboration, for getting this news out, and a very heartfelt thank you to all of them. All right, so with that, I'm going to bring on not just another guest, but what I would consider a great friend. I think I've known Jesse for over 20 years now. He is one of the most respected, liked, goofy, crazy CIOs in our industry. And so with that, why don't we bring on Jesse, and let's have a little conversation about what's going on at Hines. How are you, my friend?
Way to give up my age, Jim. God, I tell you.
We're all giving up our age.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure hanging out with you, man.
Yeah. Well, I know how busy you are, and you're getting ready to travel and meet with us. But before we start talking about our event next week, give me a little update on what's going on at one of the best real estate organizations in the world, Hines. You know, you guys are known for quality. You're known for innovation. You're known for, a global perspective. I know, we've been talking over the months, where you've been, where you are, but kind of give us a snapshot on what's going on now and what you see with COVID and getting back into buildings in the next couple months.
Yeah. So, as a firm, in real estate, we're all, challenged the same way. We're trying to figure out where we can increase our business, where are the opportunities, making sure people are healthy. So of course that's top of mind. I'd say from a return to office or COVID perspective, being global, we're seeing, as we've spoken in the past, folks in Asia, they're definitely a lot more getting back to some sense of normal. We're starting to see a little bit more activity in Europe, but then, you ebb and flow of different countries. Recently you've seen some have to scale back a little bit, but in essence, they're trying to move forward. I think in the States, it depends on what city. You joked earlier with Denise about, trying to get fans back into, SoFi. We've got fans, here at NRG when the Texans were playing, or at AT&T Stadium. And so I think you're starting to see, different.
You had 20,000 people. So in California, they're not letting them have 300. In Texas, they're doing 20,000 with no COVID outbreaks in Texas related to that stadium, correct?
Yeah, and again, I think it's a testament to Denise and firms like hers and real estate firms that can bring people back in a safely in an environment like that, where you can congregate a little bit but safely distance, and I think it's a testament to what those organizations are doing. And at Hines, we're trying to do the same thing, right? We've set up procedures in our buildings to allow our tenants to come back comfortably. Those that and in some cases, some tenants never left because they were essential. Our property management teams, our engineering teams, our security teams are having to maintain our buildings, our frontline folks, and so we can't thank them enough for that. And so they've been, watching our buildings, take care of our buildings. The tenants, some have stayed, some have left, and are starting to come back. So you're starting to see that a little bit here in the Houston area. It's definitely feeling more active. I joked with someone recently. I can see the traffic building up again.
That's good.
It's known for some of its traffic, but and actually it's funny because it actually makes you feel better, right? Who would have said?
Even watching the baseball games, I really appreciate what a lot of the sporting venues did with putting digital, screens in the audience so you could see people. They pump the noise in. Believe me, I understand what a hybrid means. But I got to tell you, even at 20%, it's nice to see people back in those stadiums, because it does get you back to a little semblance of, all right, we're not there yet, but we're at least headed towards that, and It's
Yeah,
not going to be 100%.
Yeah, and again, being a sports fan, and we can talk about sports all day long, and we'll definitely talk about it next week. But yeah, just think about the foul balls in baseball, the excitement you see when someone catches one or catches a home run, or when they give it to their little boy or little girl.
Yep.
And those are things that you miss when nobody's there, right? I mean, we joked about, and early on, is if your cardboard cutout got hit by a baseball, would they give you the baseball, right? Because you caught it. Well, now actually seeing people catching them like they used to, it does make you feel better. It does make you feel like, okay, there is a light at this end of this tunnel. Having our teammates in China and Asia get more back to the office makes you feel there is an end to this at some
And
point.
I think it's all of our jobs to get the building owners who haven't taken some precautions, implemented some technologies to provide that safe environment. It's also part of all of us to get those tenants coming back. Again, nobody's expecting 100%, but we're going to have, five different COVID technologies at our event in Denver. We're going to have the scanner that's going to do blood pressure, temperature, oxygenation level. There's 4. And then microbial swabbing. We're going to be swabbing surfaces, detecting COVID back 10 days. So we'll get a report. And if we find COVID in a bathroom, theoretically, we could send in the UVC robot. We're literally going to be demonstrating COVID technologies that are going to be part of the solution to getting back. And so that's what I would ask the building owners, the owner market, lean into this, right? It's not just hand sanitizer, masks, and social distancing. There are plenty of things you can do, and they're not overly expensive, that you can build that confidence so that tenant feels good coming back in.
Well, and again, and I think that's what's exciting about being able to be there in person and talk to you folks and see how you guys have set up the venue. I've been with you on a lot of these planning calls and talking about how we're going to safely get us to Denver, to the conference. And I'm excited to see it in action. And that's where I'm excited to be going and seeing some of these newer technologies and how can that be applied to companies like Hines. Because again, one of the things early on, none of us knew how some of these technologies that were so new, we didn't know if they would work and how do you implement them and how do you scale. And so we've learned a lot since then, but being able to even continue to learn, knowing that this is going to be continuing further than what we thought, which was a few months in 2020.
Right.
Being able to see some of that technology in action, I think is exciting, and the reason why I'm excited to be going.
Yeah, we're going to have 6 reverse ionization, polar ionization units, which they will put into the ballroom and will be recirculating air. And I don't know the science at that level, but I've been told it's going to be some of the cleanest air in the world, right? And so, and P.S. There's always risk. Right? But I got to tell you, we've talked about it. There was an event 2 weeks ago in Orlando. 500 human resource executives got together. All they did was social distancing, masks, and hand sanitizer. They had their booths spread out. They had their tables spread out. But Indianapolis had 40,000 people go through their convention center in July. So there are pockets of activity coming back into events like ours and buildings like yours. We just got to keep getting the word out, and people got to get that confidence that they can do that, right?
Well, and it is about messaging. I think I've been fortunate to be on a lot of CIO webinars with other peer groups and other industries, and every once in a while they'll make the comment like, "Well, your offices aren't safe," which is why people aren't coming back to the building. And I'll be like, "Okay, well, wait a minute. I know I work in real estate, but it maybe sounds a little defensive, but the offices are safe. It's just we just don't want a lot of people together and not social distancing. So the offices themselves physically are safe. It's like saying your house isn't safe,
right?
Having 20 people in it. So I think a lot of times as part of it is the messaging around the venues like SoFi, our buildings. We put protocols in place. The events. Well, it's just trying to make sure that people are following the guidelines and the rules that have been established to keep them safe.
And I'm a pretty impartial guy, but I got to tell you, the media's had one message and one message only: fear. And there's never any stories about people coming back into a building, back into an event, back into a sporting event. I'm going to yell anytime I can that the media's got to take a responsibility to, yes, present the science, present the concerns. Let's do this, with a prudent perspective. But we also got to be out there pushing people to take some risks, little ones, so we can get this back to normal. Because if we don't, the economic train wreck is going to be much worse than anything COVID ever did. And so we have to push.
Yeah. And I think overarching is health, of course, health and safety. It's the same conversation with cybersecurity, right? You want to mitigate, you want to put controls, you want to put some governance, make sure everything's safe and secure. Same thing here. You want to do everything you've done right. But yeah, I mean, I think little by little we've seen, like I said, going back to China and what they've done in Asia and in other countries in Europe, that if you put the right protocols, people follow the right guidelines, you can have events, you can get together with friends and family, and you can have these type. And this is why, again, I think having you guys
I'm excited actually
for doing this and being able to hang out with you guys in Denver and see this technology and how this gets put in practice is exciting to me.
I'm excited. We're going to have senior executives from BOMA, IFMA, and IREM as well. They're committing to coming in, and we're going to share everything that we've learned about virtual events and all this stuff and COVID, and they're going to share their experiences. So it's really been an opportunity for some of these organizations to come together and partner and say, let's figure this out together. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about awareness raising, right? Raising the awareness, educating folks, making sure that they can make the best educated decision for their own personal health, right? But it's all about awareness and education.
But it can't be just fear driven. It can't. Yep. And there's too much, in my opinion, there's too much fear out there right now. So, all right, Jesse, unfortunately, we are out of time. I could talk to you all day. And when we do get together, we are going to talk a little sports. I'm from New York, but I live in California. So, and you're in the middle. So I'm sure we're going to disagree a little bit.
I'm a Raiders fan, so I'm hoping Denise can hook me up with that new stadium in Las Vegas.
Yeah, Denise is going to be a good friend. Yeah, we got to remember where her contacts lie. So, all right, my friend, you travel safe and be well. We'll see you soon.
All right.
Take care.
Take care.
All right. Always fun to catch up with Jesse. He's just an amazing guy. All right. So we're going to pivot a little bit this week. We're not going to do in the news like we normally do with Sherry, because we're going to talk about in the news a little self-serving today, talking about our event coming up. So what I'd like to do is maybe bring in Howard and Lisa and see how they're doing. I know they've been busy. I don't see your alcohol bottles anywhere, folks.
Actually, it's been kind of boring the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, last 5 months. No. We can't stop laughing. I'm not sure that's a good sign.
Yeah. What a great show having Denise and Jesse. I got to tell you, this was fantastic.
Yeah, that was great perspectives. A world-class, events company with, stadiums like SoFi, AT&T, and then Jesse and the Hines portfolio. These are smart people, and they're doing some cool stuff. So we only got a couple minutes left, but what I'd like to do is, Howard, 30 seconds, 45 seconds. What the heck is going on with the program, and are you okay?
Yeah, taking a deep breath. I mean, honestly, I've never seen a more aggressive virtual program. And this, what's amazing is this is going to be a live virtual program. These aren't pre-recorded sessions. We're going to have 240 world-class speakers covering about 90 conference sessions, plus 15 case study showcases, 7 full pre-conference tracks, cyber, CIO, CEO, property management, higher ed, integrator boot camp. We've really packed it in.
Yeah, I know you have. 22 years, my friend. You have done an extraordinary job for all 22. And this year, pivoting in March when we thought we were done and had to start all over. A+. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you on this. It's been hard, no doubt, but it's been a lot of fun as well. So thank you for your commitment.
Team effort.
Thank you for commitment. So Lisa, how about from the vendor side? You still have any hair left? I know it's been pretty crazy.
Jim, it has been crazy. It's been like trying to drive your car with, one hand with a coffee in one hand, a bagel in the other hand, and trying to put mascara on, while you're driving, trying to get somewhere. It's been a crazy, particularly the last couple of weeks, but we're almost there. And we're really looking forward to it. We've got over 100 exhibitors and sponsors participating in the virtual conference. And, it's just an outstanding community. Some of these technology companies are just stellar. And, they've got such a great attitude about, the pivot and adjusting and meeting the needs and challenges of their clients. And, I'm really looking forward to them connecting with the attendees.
It is truly a community. It's not just a bunch of vendors that we try to take money from. Yeah. It is a two-way street, a real relationship. And I want to say thank you to all those vendors. It's been hard, no doubt. And we've all been kind of running as fast as we can. And we're just going to say our prayers that next week. I'm sure there's going to be some technical issues, so I'm going to set the record right now. But overall, I think we're in pretty good shape. And And then Brian, maybe if you could just bring up those two images, I'm going to show you a little bit about Realcomm Live is kind of going to be a centerpiece of the event. When you log in, you're going to see a screen where we're going to be streaming live, kind of like a studio. And so we got a bunch of virtual sets being designed. This is one of them. We're going to have different locations kind of simulated. We're going to be bringing in live streaming. We're going to be trying all sorts of goofy, crazy things. Some are going to work, and I'm sure some are not. But that's who we are. We take risks. And I think if you don't take risks, it's easy to criticize the ball team from the fans. But until you get up at that plate, you really don't have much to say. So, all right, guys, unfortunately, that's all the time we've got. But I look forward to seeing you. You travel safe. Be well. And next time we see each other, we will be in Denver.
Join us.
Join us. Yes, please. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys. All right. So with that, I'd like to do a final commercial run with one of our great sponsors. Has been around with a long time, Altus.
Altus Group's software, data, and advisory services help bring the clarity, perspective, and insights you need to minimize the risk and maximize the value of your investments. Because it's not simply how much data you have, it's how clearly you see it.
All right, everybody, that wraps this episode. We are all getting ready to pack our bags. Of those of us who are going to be in Denver, as I told you, it's going to be a hybrid event. The beginning of the week is going to be online. We cross over on Wednesday to the physical, and we'll be literally going to be setting up a studio, doing all sorts of interesting things. I really encourage you to join us. All you need to do is go to realcomm.com, go up to those conference highlights, plenty of things to learn about, click a button, register, and we're hoping you join us. And be part of this history-making event. First time in 2020, real estate hybrid event has been done, a little virtual, a little on-site, and I'll talk to you next week, and we'll see how it goes. Thank you very much, and be well.